Hello, everybody. This is Kyle Wentworth with Wentworth Consulting Group. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing a really great organization out of Florida. That organization is called the Veterans Ranch. And the owner and director of that organization is J.R. Smith. He's with us today. Hello, J.R.
Hello, how y'all doing out there?
Doing wonderful. Um, we're going to talk about wanted to ask you some questions about the Veterans Ranch and get that out to our listeners to give them some information about what the organization's about. I know it has a really wonderful mission. Um, how, when, and why did you start the Veterans Ranch?
It's funny is back in 2017 really was the year, but leading up to that, I'm a patriot, my wife's a patriot, my dad's a Vietnam veteran, and we were just looking for new and improved ways to help veterans. Didn't quite know how to do that just yet, but my dad always taught me to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. And this was probably around October of 2017. Of course, I had a lot of legal pads. I'm sure y'all out there that have done this as well have a lot of legal pads, a lot of ideas that maybe started or sounded like a good idea when you wrote it down, but didn't really end up being good ideas. Well, I scribbled the word ranch, went back to sleep. Had no idea what that meant. At the time, my wife and I are horse people, and we wanted a couple of horses, 5, 10 acres, our little slice of Americana. I didn't know the word ranch. We're not thinking the 4 6s in Texas or Yellowstone that we all know nowadays, or date myself, Dallas, South Fork. But a lot of praying, a lot of reflecting on what that word meant. We were on our way to a Bass Pro Shops one day and decided to stop at Chili's for lunch. Well, we all know the good Lord works in mysterious ways, right? So my wife must know when I get a good idea going because smoke just must come pouring out my ears. I asked her for a pen, and we had some napkins at the table, started writing down ideas. And long and short of it is about 20, 30 Chili's napkins later, the ideas for the Veterans Ranch was born. And in 27 or by December of 2017, we were a 501c3. We have one mission in mind, and that is taking our veterans and their families and really helping them come full circle, bring awareness to what PTS truly is, and do our part to help end veteran suicide. And we do it all through God's majestic animal, the horse.
And you said PTS. You left off the D.
Yes, sir, I did. You'll always hear me leave off the D. It's not a damn disorder. The government calls it a disorder so you can qualify for some money for your benefits. It's post-traumatic stress. It is something you've walked through in life. People in general, most people, if they were honest with themselves, have some form of PTS. You've walked through some things, had some experiences in your life. Hell, some people call high school PTS, right? It just depends on
Amen.
what their level is. Me personally, being a patriot, I've never fired a shot in anger, had a bullet whiz by my head, had a buddy die in my arms, but I have walked through some things in my life that would crush most people. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to verify that we have all walked through some things in our life. Disorders being born with a hole in your heart, a leg shorter than another. There's a lot of things that are disorders. Post-traumatic stress is not one of them. You'll always hear us leave off the D.
So why did you choose horses, not dogs or some other animal?
We love dogs. Okay. I've had a dog in my house since I was 8 years old, but we call horses God's majestic animal. Okay. Why? Because a horse can feel a gnat. Think about that. You're outside at night, a tiny little gnat. A horse can feel a gnat land on its back. That's why you see it twitch all the time. What do you think it feels from you feet away? People's energy field is 5 to 7 feet. That's why most people can really run up on you and sneak up on you before you know they're there. A horse is 15 to 30 feet. It knows it's paying attention to you long before you even think it's paying attention to you. Why? Because they're pack animals and prey animals. Their defense mechanisms are biting you or kicking you. Now, that hurts like hell. Anybody that's ever had that happen can attest. But it's not much of a defense mechanism out in the wild. So here's an animal that will project back to you everything you're projecting to it. but has a loyalty level that most people, men and women that served, never see outside of the uniform. A horse will literally continue to run for you at full speed until its heart explodes and dies. I mean, think about that for loyalty for a second. Your own family will let you down. Your job might let you down. Your own best friend could potentially let you down. But you'll let your horse down before your horse lets you down. They are just truly an amazing animal to work with.
So what do you do with the veterans and the horses? How do they interact?
First thing we want to do is we want to find out from a personal level if there are any PTS issues, things you're dealing with. We know the number is broadcast as 22 a day. Sadly, 35 veterans a day on average are taking their own lives these days. We want to sit down and talk with you. We're not therapists personally, okay? We just want to have that, kind of sit down around the campfire cowboy conversation with you, see if there's anything that might be above our pay grade even that we can help you and assist you with. And we just kind of want to find out about your personality. And then we can pair you up with a horse that, we work with very gentle, what they call broke horses. Last thing we want is some triggered race horse, that it might be working with someone who's dealing with triggered issues themselves. And then quite honestly, we're going to put one of these in your hand. It's a groom and brush. Right now, we just want to thank Decker Manufacturing out of Keokuk, Iowa, for giving us a handful of these things to use. But we want you getting to work in a rhythmic motion of grooming that horse. What's that doing? You're forgetting about the world for a while. Okay. In sales training, we used to always tell everybody, all the salespeople, leave your baggage at the door. It'll be there when you get back. Because in sales, people can hear on the other end of the phone or face to face. If you're just, boy, you need that commission, you got to pay a bill. Well, in case with veterans, we want you leaving the baggage at the door and hoping there's less to pick up when you get back. Because see, you're building a bond of trust with that animal. Your hands are on it. You're learning about it. It's learning about you at the same time. You can pour out your heart and soul to that horse and it'll take everything you got. And yeah, they can be a little smart aleck and talk back to you sometimes, but not like we do, right? There's a level of communication there that just doesn't exist in the human world, but they understand us and we learn to understand them when you give yourself to that horse.
That's wonderful. So you've been in business around 5 years, and tell me about some of your success stories.
Absolutely. Yeah. This December will be 5 years, and really proud of that. Couple of quick success stories. We had a guy, active duty airman. We were doing a trail ride. Now, the majority of what we do is groundwork. Horse people out there will understand what that term means, but groundwork is learning basic horsemanship skills, liberty training, a horse, a round pen, and a training flag. What that means is a saddle 9 times out of 10 will never even touch the horse. Because again, it's you building that bond of trust with the horse. So we're doing a trail ride. We had some experienced riders that we've been working with for a while, and we just wanted to have a fun day on a trail ride. Well, this one lady we've been working with, she was medically retired Air Force. She had ridden dressage and things for years and years and years. So she was in her element. She somehow convinced her husband, who was active duty Air Force, to come out. We didn't know he was coming, but hey, come one, come all. We're there to serve everyone that served us all. We're pairing everybody up with horses, and we pair this young man up with a Belgian. Now, for people out there that may not know what kind of horse that is, it's called a draft horse. They were work horses, plow horses. But for everyone that knows a Budweiser Clydesdale, shrink that down just a little bit, and that's a Belgian. Now, I'm 6'4". Okay, they measure horses in hands: 1 hand, 2 hand, 3. This thing's about 19 hands. I'm looking at withers, or what's known as a shoulder. Okay, at 6'4". This guy's 5'5" with boots on. He's like looking at ribs. So we're helping everybody else, and we're coming back around to him. But as we come back around to him, his wife comes over and says, "Jerry, you got to help me. He's freaking out. He's cursing me out. He wants to go home." I'm like, "Nah, he's just scared." Okay. He won't admit it, but he's scared. Now, as a proud patriot, I work I wear cowboy boots. I never wore combat boots. I will never talk to a veteran like I've walked in those boots. So we always have veterans on our team with us as volunteers for the day. So I brought this Marine over with me. I guess just loves to make fun of airmen. From what I understand, makes fun of everybody. But so I'm like, you got this? I'm telling him what's going on. He's like, oh, I got this. I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? He comes up to him, and I'll clean it up for folks out here. He's like, the F's wrong with you, airman. You're a wuss. You can't get up on a horse. You know, you're going to go to Okinawa and you can't get up on a horse. What the F's wrong with you? Well, I realized real quick what he was doing. Uniform to uniform, he could kind of break him down, get his mind off that horse and get his mind on him. Now, that didn't last very long. After a few seconds, we started laughing and asking him seriously, what's wrong? And he said, guys, you got to understand something. I'm from the Bronx. We all started busting up laughing. We knew exactly what he meant, right? Never saw the mounted patrol in Central Park. Never, you know, he said dogs running through the neighborhood were strays. And we were wanting him to get up on this behemoth of a horse.
Sure.
Well, we get him up on it. We get him out in the arena, make sure he's comfortable, teach him how to steer with his feet and his hips, not always yanking on the horse's head as your steering wheel. We made sure some experienced riders were out in front and behind him just to make sure, you know, because I mean, horses are still just big kids. Anything can happen. He comes back an hour later. He's got a shit-eating grin on his face, ear to ear. We knew he had a good time. He asked if he could, you know, when we get him off the horse, he asked if he could get a drink. We said, yeah. He said, I got a question for you. He said, no problem. He comes back and he says, guys, can I go out on the second ride? His wife was in immediate tears. I mean, an hour ago, he's cursing her out, wanting to go home. Now he's wanting to go on a second ride. That day, the good Lord and the horse took over and won. He was able to overcome fears that he didn't even realize was fears, get closer knit with his wife now, because he would never explain to her why he wouldn't go to any horse stuff with her. Sure. And then he could go back to Okinawa with his chest poked out a little higher. We did have to have fun with him, though. At the end of the second ride, we asked the owner that day if he had a bag of frozen peas, and we chucked him a bag of frozen peas when he was done, because a Belgian's pretty wide. You know, again, I'm 6'4". If I don't ride a Belgian for a while, I might be walking a little funny. Here's a guy who'd never been on a horse, just spent 2 hours on one of the widest ones we could have put him on. Yeah, and he's like, F you guys, but thanks, you know. So, I mean, that's just, you know, the majestic power a horse has. There are studies out there. I could go on for hours about this. There are studies about how horses will change their heart rhythm to match the person they're working with. You know, it's been proven the march, you know, like how servicemen march. A cadence of a horse has been related to a march. It puts their mind in a different, you know, state. Dogs are great. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of amazing dog programs out there, but we just didn't want to be white noise and be another dog program when you have these amazing, you know, 800 to 2,000 pound animals that'll let you, you know, give you the ride of your life or an experience like you've never had before.
Mm-hmm. How are you growing your business across the country?
I tell you, that's been a chore. It's been a work in progress, but we are now, you know, we have actually for the last couple of years, we want to give a big nod to folks at Rural Media Group out of Fort Worth, Texas, that comprises the RFD TV, which is Rural Farm Development, and the Cowboy Channel. They ran commercials nationwide for us, helping us get our word out there. They have been great supporters of us, and we love how they continue to promote the Western way of life. Cowboy exists in a lot more places than we think these days, even here in Florida, right? You know, we think the land of the mouse and tourism and beaches. You peel off just a couple layers of the onion and you find cowboy here real quick. Because before Walt got here, Florida was just one big cow town. At one point, Florida had per capita more cattle ranches than the state of Texas. And I know I'll piss off all my Texas friends with that, but it's true. We're also now launching or have launched our affiliate ranch program. Now, what's that? There are 53,000 nonprofits out there right now that say they help veterans. Why start number 53,001? You can come under our umbrella. If you own land and horses and you're not a nonprofit already, you can come under our umbrella and be the Veterans Ranch, San Antonio, Fort Worth, St. Louis, California somewhere, wherever you want to fill in the blank, because we have 19 million veterans out here in this country, and they need the assistance. We need to get 22 to 0, 35 to 0, and that's only going to happen with a massive push of bringing awareness to PTS, awareness to veteran suicide, and get them the alternative therapy help they need that honestly our government won't push. So private industry like us is picking up the ball and running with it. And I'll be 50 in December. So I got a long way to go and a lot of veterans to help. So that's how we're growing. If you have land and horses, whether you're a proud patriot or a veteran, reach out to us today and let's talk about getting the job done in your neighborhood.
How many people are out there supporting the Veterans Ranch?
Right now we got a good amount of people, and we have a great advisory board that's about 15 people right now, which are all comprised of veterans or Blue Star families. And we have people nationwide that support us either by being our megaphone and getting the word out there on our behalf, being brand ambassadors, if you will, and some people that make financial contributions. We're, of course, always looking for more because the two words horse and cheap never go hand in hand, folks. Between farriers, feed, hay, supplies, when you have to feed your investment, it costs a lot of money. So we have a lot of great folks and growing all the time. And so we're looking for more support and help on a daily basis.
So what's on your horizon?
Right now on the horizon, we see within the next 3 years our own flagship ranch. Because right now we work out of our house, folks. We're as brutally honest as we can be. This is my family room. We use other people's horses and facilities to do what we do. We don't charge veterans or immediate household family for what we do. So that costs a lot of money. But we see a flagship ranch that's able to host 6,000 to 10,000 veterans a year just at our facility alone, and a bare minimum 20 to 30 affiliate ranches across the country. Folks, I could put 10 within 10 counties of where I sit here in Florida are north of 500,000 veterans. More than a third of the state's veterans live on the Gulf side of Florida. I could put 10 affiliates right here. I'd love to put 20 to 30 across the country and start serving more veterans on a daily basis. So when you think about equine therapy, and let me be real clear, this is not me going like this, but when you think about equine therapy, I want you to think the Veterans Ranch. I want you to be able to go to the veteransranch.org and look up a facility near you. And that's coming. That's coming real quick. We want you to be within a 30-minute to no more than an hour drive to be able to get the assistance and the help you need, again, on our dime.
So the veteransranch.org, best way to reach out to you guys. You have a contact page or a form for people to fill out to reach out?
Absolutely. There's lots of ways you can sign up to be a volunteer so we can have you on the volunteer list. Please sign up for our newsletter that we put out on a regular basis so you know everything that's going on. You can click the donate button. Of course, we'll take any donation you can get. We understand things are tough out there for folks right now. I got a diesel truck, okay? It cost me anywhere between $100 and $130 to fill that thing up. And I got 200,000 miles on it. So needless to say, I do a lot of traveling. But here's how simple this breaks down, folks. We are right now asking 22,000 proud Americans that I'm talking to here today to give $22 a month for 1 year. It's $264 a year or less than one restaurant visit, be it a fast food joint or a sit-down restaurant with you and the family. One less visit a month, because we all know what that costs. If you name the fast food joint, I'm not going to name them here, but fill in the blank, and you know how much that costs these days.
Yeah,
all right,
so quick.
$264 a year, $22 a month. Help save veterans' lives, because we need to talk about this more. We don't talk about it enough. It's not talked about around the water cooler. Politicians talk about it to garner votes, and then they don't talk about it anymore. We need to be talking about saving veterans' lives so more than 13,000 plus great Americans a year are not checking out off this planet like they don't matter.
Well, folks, you can get access to the Veterans Ranch via links in this video, and you'll be able to get into Veterans Ranch by clicking the link that's on our webpage, on our resources page where you're finding this video more than likely. JR, I greatly appreciate your time. As a youngest member of the largest military family recorded in the United States, me and my family greatly appreciate the service that you're providing for the veterans in our country.
It is our pleasure to serve the ones that serve us all, and thank you for having us here today to help share our message.
Great, JR. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll chat soon.